this one. So I'm usually not using it, but just to show the current price action on Bitcoin. The trend is still bullish, but weak. Volume also weak. If you look at the monthly, we have closed the weekly above the SSB here, which is usually a good sign for trend continuation. If I just look at the weekly, we are still in the same shape. I think that the correction, upward correction, could be stronger. We could retest this level. So I won't explain all my line again. Thanks for your comment. But if you look at the monthly, technically we are still in a bullish correction phase. This is very clear. Look at the weekly. Look at the weekly holding exactly on the uptrend. We are also retesting the COVID, the 21-20, December 20 ATH, previous ATH. You see, long-term cycle break, retest. Now, are we gonna enter in a new cycle? It's technically possible because, as I said, Bitcoin fundamentally remains the king. There is no change fundamentally. Adoption is still growing while the market is red. This is literally a good sign because the trust on Bitcoin technology hasn't changed, and institutional also are shifting toward long-term bull, but toward long-term adoption, if I can say. That's why it's not because the price dumped 40% or 50% from the top that it could not break the ATH, okay? Look at the long-term cycle phases. Technically, just looking at the monthly, you see that the lagging span. So from, if I can say more precisely, let's say from the November 21, since lagging span broke above the Tenkan, we are still into a bullish, if I can say, very long-term cycle. And as long as the lagging span isn't technically under Tenkan or Kijun, the long-term momentum could remain in play. As you can see, this could be just a simple correction. You see, golden pocket is here. I was expected to see a deeper retracement. It's still on the table because we have the 48k, remember, and 35, 40k possibly. I explained it on my previous stream and my previous long-term view. Technically, it's still possible because we are neutral on the weekly and now neutral on the monthly and under K previous support, which could act as resistance. So you see, we have one side of the monthly chart showing that it needs bull volume. We need more momentum to break above previous K level. So I will be very much more, if I can say, confident for bulls if we hold and close above 94 and especially the 101k. So if Bitcoin with green candle on the monthly is able to break above this, you see this tiny zone, Tenkan Kijun, this could mean that potentially the new ATH could turn. The ATH recently, the 115, 120 could play as weak level, you know, because lagging span will be above prices. We broke again and consolidate to gain momentum under above the previous K level, and I don't think this shape is a kind of double top structure. You see, I don't think we are gonna see a double top because usually in a double top the bull reaction is very quick, and you see here we are consolidating since many months in a row. Usually in a double top phase, you see sharp dump and FOMO retracement very fast, meaning that this phase is usually a FOMO retail retracement, creating another perfect sell area for people who sold early the top. And here, I really don't think that a double top will be seen, judging by my weekly and monthly outlook, meaning that if the price move above 94, 95, especially this level I called, then a new 88 could be on the table. But currently, yeah, we are very neutral. So thinking about a pump toward the K level here, it's difficult because it's technically possible, but as we are very neutral, you know, it could take much more time. One candle is 1 day here, so during the day it's very difficult to detect, to know when the price is gonna break. So as we are at a middle of long term, if I can say phases, we are neutral and at the middle of price pump area, and we are trapped under K support, K resistance, and also above K support. So technically now I can try to, yeah, you see this lower low here. We have maybe, if we zoom on the H4, you see level by level, I define, okay, the uptrend. Ooh, the uptrend seems to be break, you see, but we are back above. Is it a channel? I will check it. Maybe we are still moving inside. Oh, can be like this inside this channel. Okay, so if the channel hold with the momentum regarding the daily, we could hit this 92, 93k, and the K level on the daily. So yeah, you see when you have the flat Kijun, technically the daily is bullish, so it does not looks bad on the daily, but on the weekly we are very neutral, meaning that the price could move sideways before to decide the next move. So technically, as I said, my bias hasn't changed. Above 74, this is exactly the same chart as the last week. It's exactly the same level, has not changed, because long-term resistance, long-term support are being creating with time, and the more time we have, and the stronger are level usually. And here the 74 could act as K level if we are back, if bulls break under 74. I'm scared that it could dump toward 60k, or at least revisit this demand zone. But as long as we are above 74 on my lines, I expect to see, I don't know, sideways phase. Maybe it's difficult to say a retest of the 74k. That's why it's important to understand that we are at resistance, but the lagging span is holding above prices. Technically, it's good, but the weekly, you see, very neutral. Lagging span could have obstacle on prices, so it might take some more time. And you have the monthly Kijun, as it's very tiny yet. I guess that that will be a weak level compared to the Tenkan, which is already larger, meaning that it's all based on my experience, of course, and this is not exact science, but from what I see, this level, the 88, if we push, if we have a breakout of the 83, we could break this level very, very easily, because my lines say that it's not yet a strong level, and the main magnet level is around, you see, maybe this peak, but 93, 92. So that's why while Bitcoin is also consolidating like this, we are seeing some good pump on altcoin, because the market sentiment can get stabilized with K altcoin at, if I can say, at K bottom. That's why sometimes you have some juicy pump on the market. And you see the structure on the daily, it does not look like a bearish flag or something like we had here. You see, it was much more, if I can say, compressed compared to this structure, it looks more like an ascending channel, especially since you see the daily, since we broke the we broke the 200 days downtrend. Also, this is important, meaning that the bearish trend has been broke. Now, as I said, the good question is, I will end like this: will bulls be able to push above previous scale level, or will the weekly momentum continue? I think at least we are gonna touch 93, 94 before, and then are we gonna see something like this? It's technically possible also. One reason I think this, because I guess that there will be a reset in the global economy. If you look at the macroeconomical news, the state, everything is going bad on the news regarding the states, and especially with the Iran war. I don't know. Maybe something like a black swan could happen, and if we are under 93, technically, I won't speculate much on the long-term ATH to be break, but it's not my specialty to detect such events, and of course, trading the chart reflects the news, as I like to say, so it's better to not hope about something, to keep having consistent results. Okay, let's go. Are you okay with it for the Bitcoin view? So nothing has changed, and the level I'm watching for sideways phase is this one. If I can end the live, you have the 82.5 and 74. So technically inside this box, this is very hard. And in case of breakout daily or H4 or above 82.5k, then watch for the $88 I talked about. But for now, the price could move sideways inside this zone. It's difficult to know because very neutral, still very neutral phase on the weekly and the monthly. Sometimes I know it's boring because 70% of the time the market is moving sideways. Especially imagine that 70% on the monthly or weekly basis. Imagine how many months can it be. For example, if you look at this chart, okay, if you look at this sideways phase here, you see the lagging span. Okay, look at this sideways phase here. How many weeks it moves sideways? If you look at 33 weeks, almost more than half a year moving in this range. And especially if you move on the yearly, on the monthly, you still have some sideways phase. But when the range become tight, then it's hard to trade inside such a zone. That's why zooming on the bigger picture is much more easier, because if you know that a sideways phase is ongoing here, you have the low and the top, and you have a 20% price area to scalp, to trade, to swing. That's why, and the breakout, for example, of such structure, yes, here, lagging span excited the cloud. You see we entered in a long-term bullish phase, which held still, you see here, sideways phase consolidation, next breakout of the rectangle, new pump, new sideways phase, new consolidation. But here you see this very important. As long as I said the lagging span is still above the 10 can, exactly on the monthly, we could see another long-term continuation of the cycle. And if the lagging span break under 10 can Kumo, it could be a warning about that the market could turn red for the very long term. But for now, we are still inside a bullish cycle, I think, judging by the monthly. It's just a market pause. But as I said, who knows where the price is going next? This is the good question.